Hi, thank you so much, Justin. We're really excited to be here. As Justin said, we are from NYU. We're designers. My name is Davon, Larson. This is Pratik, Jain. And we're also working with Alex, who isn't here right now, and he's in Puerto Rico, and we all feel bad for him. We want to create a tool that makes it easier for users to suss out how safe they are on a website. There's a lot of problems with the internet today. We're not going to solve them all, but we think that the consumer can. We think that if you give the consumer the right tool, they will be able to demand better services from services like Facebook and Twitter. So we're creating an easy-to-use tool that gives a high-level rating of the addictiveness, the privacy, the terms of service, whether or not they are secure in the data that they're giving to that service, and whether or not they're going to be GDPR compliant, and also ad networks. This is what our prototype will look like. Right now we've created a working prototype that basically leverages different APIs from companies like Terms of Service Didn't Read, and also it's called pwned, which basically says when the last data breach was on that website. One of the data holes that we are experiencing right now, one of the voids in data that we need to create this is actually within addictiveness. So we decided to focus the rest of our project on basically diving into what makes a service addictive. One of the organizations that we're taking a cue from is the Center for Humane Technology. And I love this quote. Our society is being hijacked by technology. What began as a race to monetize our attention is now eroding the pillars of our society: mental health, democracy, social relationships, and our children. I don't think there's a more pressing and important direction that we could head as technologists to help people use the internet more responsibly. So like I said, we don't have the data right now because it is out there. But companies basically, that data is proprietary. They don't make it available to the general consumer like they do with terms of service or like they do with security. So we basically were faced with the task of creating that data set. Before I go into the methodology of how we created that, I just wanted to share some of our results, which weren't surprising at all. Facebook scored the highest on the top 10 websites of what rates the most addictive at a 3.6. That would translate to a D in our grading scale. And the Wikipedia is the least addictive, right? And everything in between. The methodology that we use is we basically took a cue from the Center for Humane Technology, and we basically divided addiction and addictability into 5 separate categories. First, social pressure. Does this service create a feeling of missing out? Is there social reciprocity, which is like a like for like culture? Is there value signaling? Do people feel less than for not being a part of a community? What are the off-platform CTAs or calls to action or callbacks? Is there excessive emailing? What is the default? Do you, by default, get push notifications? How bad are the direct targeted ads? And we rated all of these on a scale of 1 to 5 and asked we asked the segment to basically rate that based on their own opinion of that website and how addictive it was.
Some of the other metrics that we studied were like automation, whether the website has autoplay videos, whether they have infinite looping, gamification, whether they have infinite scrolling in their platform, whether they have streaking involved, whether they have slot machine mechanism in their platform, whether the users have freedom of choice, whether that particular service or platform is a monopoly, are there enough alternatives that they can use. So one thing that we think is there's a lot of study on how to create habit-forming products and how to create products that people can just stick to, but there's not a lot of research done on how to create products that are like don't make people just super addictive to them. There is some research that's being done. There are organizations like Center for Humane Tech and there is Common Sense Media, but there's still a lot to do here. Another part of our browser extension is that we want people to have like their own personal usage report, which would give them the amount of time they've spent on particular websites or products, and what is their average experience, what is the average experience of users over time, and it would give them their daily and weekly stats. Our next steps are to further refine our metrics and to collect more data on this. We also want to expand this to mobile apps and track the usage using battery health. We also want to gather data sets of platforms that like what affects happiness based on the usage of that particular platform. And we want to create a browser extension and release that to users this upcoming summer. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.